why do I have all these nobodies harassing me on the internet? I don't know, man. Let's start off this video with prayer, shall we? Like Joseph Martelli. Now, Joseph Martelli, he prayed for my death. Yeah, that's pretty harsh. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do things a little different. I also want to pray for the March. You know what they say about March Madness, something about March. I don't know. Comes in like a lion, comes out like a lamb, or vice versa. If it goes in like a lion, comes out like a lamb, or I don't know. This month started out pretty like a lamb, very slow. And now it's ending. It's the March 24th. Today is the March Madness, March for Our Lives March in D.C. today. And other major cities across the country today are doing this March for Our Lives for gun control. So the Democratic Party, as usual, is using these kids as pawns. No surprisement there. I'm still a little pissed off from Donald Trump signing that bill. Now, I said some things that I maybe shouldn't have said, like I'm gonna take my shirts and hats and Donald Trump bumper stickers and I'm gonna put them in my fire pit and burn them and set them on fire. Well, I don't know. I will put them in a cardboard box and set them aside in storage and let them rot for a bit. My hats, I got Donald Trump t-shirts, hats, the famous red Make America Great Again hat. I got that. I got bumper stickers. I have a couple of keychains. I'm going to put that stuff in a cardboard box, and I'm going to wait and decide what I'm going to do with it. Because we know Donald Trump, he's a man of integrity. I still love the guy. I don't hate him. But people are going to do things that I don't agree with. That's just part of life. That video I made, that couple of videos I made, was just spur of the moment rage because I was pissed off because he signed the bill. That's all it was. But it was enough that John Prager at Addicting Info had to write a news story about me. But anyway, you haven't heard that name in a while. I haven't heard that name in like 3 years. But anyway, he's an author from Wheeling, West Virginia. He makes about $900 a month. He's about to get evicted from his Section 8 housing because his baby mama won't pay the fucking rent. So he got a free house out of the deal, and he's gonna pretty much end up on the street pretty soon. So I'll pray for him too. So anyway, God, I can't even I got so much on my mind I want to talk about. Can't even think straight. I'm a little bit calmed down now. I'm still pissed that he signed the bill, yeah. But I'm how do I say this? I'm optimistic about what he's gonna do. I mean, this could be, we know Donald Trump, and he does have tricks up his sleeves. So this could be a trick that he's pulling on the Democratic Party. This could be I don't know. I mean, he signed the bill and then, I don't know, veto it later, or I don't know, whatever he's got. We know Donald Trump, and we know, I didn't vote for him not knowing that he doesn't have tricks up his sleeves. Because I know he does. He's like Raging Rob. I got tricks up my sleeves. He's like some of these other trolls. They're sneaky little sons of bitches, they are. And Donald Trump, he's kind of sneaky. So this could be just, how do I say this? This could be a trick up his sleeve. But anyway, let's pray. Let's pray. Lord Jesus, I want to pray for my enemies, especially Joseph Martelli, who wished death on me. I don't wish death on my enemies, Lord. I wish my enemies would see the light of the day and be woken up. Lord, I pray for Joseph Martelli. I pray that he stops being so hateful and stops wishing death on me. I also pray for John Prager, that he finds a good job so he doesn't end up evicted on the street with his kid. That's not a life that any kid should have to go through. I pray for my other enemies that wish death on me. They stalk me, they troll me, they harass my family, they harass me, Lord. And I pray that they find your grace, Lord, and they turn their lives around. What's this guy doing? You know, I have my eyes closed, and when there's somebody outside walking around, I just know. I also pray for these kids at the March for Life's march today in D.C. and other cities across the country. Wake them up, Lord. Show them who you really are. I also pray for Martin Luther King Jr.'s granddaughter, who spoke at the convention, at the March for Life's ceremony. Or what the heck's this guy doing? I can't. I'm irritated. I'm trying to. People walking around and bothering me. I said I also pray for Martin Luther King Jr.'s granddaughter. Please let her know, Lord, that her grandpa was a Republican conservative. It's the truth. I also pray that she does not. I also pray that she does not end up on welfare, on baby mama's child support, and Section 8 housing by the time she's 16. I also pray for the rest of my enemies that wish death on me. Lord, show them your grace and show them who you really are. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Alright. And I seriously mean that. I would, my enemies want to pray for my death. Joseph Martelli, he prayed for my death. Can you believe that? And he sent my videos to the NECN News in Boston. Allegedly, I can't confirm that. But I pray for these kids in D.C. I really do. I mean, I really hope they're woken up to, I hope they have an open mind and believe, what's really out there, and not just what the Democrats are telling them. I remember in March of 2016, I went to a Bernie Sanders rally. Now, I'm not a Bernie Sanders fan. I never was. But I went to some of these rallies. I just wanted to see what he wanted to say. I had to say. It was at the Phoenix Convention Center in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. It was March 16th, 2016. I believe it was a Wednesday. I don't know. I think. Whatever. So I stood in line for 2.5 hours. Well, about 2 hours. I got into the convention center and I heard Bernie Sanders speak in person. And while I was in line, there was this guy. He was much taller than me. I mean, he kind of looked like Joseph Martelli, but he was much thinner. He wasn't a fat slob. He was a lot taller. He was probably like 6'3". Bald, yeah, white guy. And we struck a conversation together. And the first thing he said to me was, "Well, did you like what Bernie Sanders said yesterday on TV?" And I'm like, and I was honest with him. I told him, "Well, not really." And he's like, "Well, not really." And he jokingly said to me, "You're not a Trump supporter, are you?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yep." And I guess he had a couple relatives in front of him in line. He's like, "Hey," he called his wife and daughter, and he's like, "Hey, we got a Trump supporter here." I'm like, "Oh, Jesus, here we go." So I had about 25 people looking at me. Oh my God, we got a Trump supporter coming into this Bernie Sanders rally. But anyway, he told me something. When we went into the building, we talked for a bit. We talked for like 10 minutes about immigration and gun control and whatever. And he was a nice guy. Liberal, but he was a nice guy. Not all liberals are bad. We got into the metal detectors where the Secret Service was, and he went in his line and I went in my line, and the last thing he says to me was, "Hey, keep an open mind." I'm like, "You too, my brother." But anyway, that's what I want for these liberals. I want them to keep an open mind. I don't want them to believe everything the Democrats tell him. You can't trust these Democrats. And, and I'm not trying to poke fun of these kids or anything like that. I'm trying to be as, as serious as I can about it. I watched some of the videos today, and I watched Martin Luther King's granddaughter on stage. I gotta be totally honest, she was a bright young girl. She really was. Smart young girl. Very bright child. But I don't agree with everything she said. I mean, she's only 9 years old. I mean, she doesn't understand, politics. And I don't expect her to. She's only 9 years old. She doesn't understand that. But she's a bright young girl. Got a good future ahead of her, hopefully. And she said that she said, my grandpa had a dream that blacks wouldn't be, discriminated against, and, they can walk free and hand in hand with white people, and that's great. I admire her grandpa very much. Martin Luther King was one of my heroes. He was a conservative Republican. Yes, he was. He was against the New World Order. He called out the global elite, and he was just like JFK, There's a reason Martin Luther King got assassinated. He called out the global elite. JFK did the same thing. JFK wanted to take down the Federal Reserve. 3 weeks later, he was dead. I do believe that the global elite, that the New World Order, was behind Martin Luther King's assassination. Not just some crazy white supremacist white guy from Missouri. But I admired Martin Luther King. He did not represent these Black Lives Matter thugs. That's not who he was. The trash that you see today, that's not what he represented. That's the great man he was. And his granddaughter, very bright young girl. But I didn't agree with everything she said. She said she has a dream that she lives in a gun-free world. Okay, well, let's think about that for a second. I mean, I understand she's only 9 years old. She doesn't understand. She's a child. I don't expect her to understand. But let's think about that for a second. A gun-free world where there's no guns at all. Well, let's think about that for a minute. Obviously, we live in a world where there's nuclear weapons, right? And I want to live in a nuclear-free world. I don't believe nuclear weapons should exist. Because you got nuts like Kim Jong-un and that Iran dictator that have them. Iran is known for funding ISIS, funding Lebanon. Lebanon funds Hamas, Hezbollah. It's surprised me that, that nuclear arms hasn't fallen in the hands of these terrorists. So yeah, nuclear weapons are destructive. There's only one thing that's meant for nuclear weapons, and that's making mankind extinct. So yeah, I want to live in a nuclear-free world where there's no nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapon-free world. Gun-free world. Well, let's think about this for a second. Guns have been around since like the 1300s. Christopher Columbus had guns. But they were much different from what they are today. They were like cannon guns. You had to put like a huge, I don't know, and they were like one shot, yeah. And for all these idiots that think, well, the Second Amendment needs to be rewritten because when the Second Amendment was written, there's actually a nut going around on Twitter saying the Second Amendment was written by a slave. You believe that? That's how dumb liberals are. Now, God, I hope I have longer than 15 minutes on my channel. I do, I think. But anyway, God, what was I saying? Liberals like to say that back when the Second Amendment was written, that it was written at the time that they were like one-shot, two-shot guns and muskets and shit like that, I guess they make a good point. Yeah, you're right. The word musket doesn't appear in the Second Amendment. Keep that in mind. It says arms. It doesn't say firearm. The word fire doesn't even appear in the Second Amendment. It's arm. You want to ban my arm? Anyway, but before, now the Second Amendment was written in 1791. It was not written by a slave. That's a fake news. Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, fake news was around in the 50s. The CIA, look up Operation Mockingbird. If you think fake news, this fake news just came out the last year. Yeah, 1950s, Operation Mockingbird, where governments use this Operation Mockingbird fake news to distract and to sort of like Harry Houdini. Harry Houdini was really good with what he did, because what the eye see, the ears hear, the mind believes, and that's why Harry Houdini was so good at what he did. Sort of like David Copperfield, with the eyes see, the ears hear, the mind believes. David Copperfield made the Empire State Building disappear, allegedly. No, he didn't. It's just with the eyes see, the ears hear, the mind believes. Well, that's kind of like Operation Mockingbird with the fake news. The CIA had this operation, fake news, and it was in the 50s, and I don't know why it was after World War II. They did it during the Korean War. I guess they did it to distract nations, to confuse other countries, and the damn operation, it was so successful that they spread it to allies of the United States. That's how successful this operation was. Operation Mockingbird. So, I don't know if the book, To Kill a Mockingbird, was, had anything to do with that. I really haven't read that book. But I got so sidetracked from talking about Harry Houdini and David Copperfield. I got to get back to what I was talking about. Fake news. So anyway, the Second Amendment. The fact of the matter is, before 1791, before the Second Amendment was written, there was the Gatling gun that was created. That was actually invented in 1775, before the Second Amendment was even thought of. That was before the United States was a nation. 1775 was when the Gatling gun was invented. And you know what the Gatling gun is, Where you take that thing and you reel it around and just and you could shoot. I mean, you could shoot 200 fucking rounds without reloading. Now that's an assault rifle. This was before the Second Amendment. So when liberals say that, well, the Second Amendment was written when muskets and this and that was around, well, that takes their... just tell them about the Gatling gun in 1775. That takes what they say, and they'll just walk around with a thumb up their ass because they don't know what to think, So let's get back. Oh my God, I got so sidetracked. Let's get back to Martin Luther King's granddaughter. Very bright girl. That was a very good speech. But she's 9 years old. She doesn't understand. She's a child. I mean, that's how these Democrat liberals, the Democrat Nazi Party, is using these children to push their anti-gun agenda. What does the global elite want? They want to get rid of free speech. They want to disarm us. They're going to use children to do it. Why? Because children are vulnerable. That's why. Because they don't understand. Your brain isn't fully developed until you're like 24, 25 years old. I'm 35, almost 36, by the way. These children don't understand. I mean, I admire their work. I don't admire what they stand for, taking the guns, but I admire their passion. I really do. But if they would take that passion for something else, like push it against the New World Order, if they would take, all that energy they're using for taking the guns and, doing this March for Lives, I admire their passion. I don't admire their work. If they would take that passion and energy that they have and use it towards taking down the Federal Reserve, Rothschild banking cartel, or taking down the New World Order, and the global elite would be shitting their diapers. Some of them might even commit suicide. Do us a favor. I mean, I don't wish death on anybody. I'm just saying, if they would take that energy and go towards what the real cause is, what's causing all this violence and crap, they could do some damage. They really can. So let's think about this. Do we want a gun-free world? Well, let's think about this. We need guns to hunt and eat, right? I mean, we could use bow and arrows to hunt deer and kill deer. Guns are more efficient. We gotta eat. We gotta, I gotta eat. I'm a meat eater. Farmers gotta protect their farms. I was watching a YouTube video. This was actually a news story, I think, done by one of the liberal news outlets. I can't remember who did it. I think it was ABC or whatever, whoever, MSNBC, one of these whatever outlets. And there was this story of this guy. He run his own business. He had a business where these farmers, they have problems with these hogs eating their crops. So this guy started his own business, and he would use an AR-15 to shoot dead the hogs that would eat the farmers' crops. And he said that, the AR-15 is more efficient because I could shoot, because these hogs that come out and eat these farmers' crops, they don't come out 5 or 10. They come out in 30, 40, or 50. So the AR-15, and he was explaining how the AR-15 is an efficient gun because the AR-15 is lightweight, it's not very heavy. The recoil is not very much. And you could shoot 32 rounds or 100 rounds or 64 rounds without reloading. So the AR-15, it gets the job done. So farmers need guns to protect their crops against predators. Cops need guns to shoot criminals, The military needs guns to protect nations against outside invaders. Just think, if we lived in a gun-free world. It ain't gonna be, if we lived in a gun-free world, it ain't gonna be fucking like the Wizard of Oz, and it ain't gonna be like that. We'd be extinct. If we lived in a gun-free world, people back before guns were invented, back in the ancient Rome days, ancient days where cavemen fought each other, they didn't use guns. They used fucking stones with hammers to beat each other to death. Look at the movie Thor with Brad Pitt. I don't recall a gun ever being used in that movie. I could be wrong. Back in those days, they didn't have guns. So let's think about this. A gun-free world? If we didn't have these problems with hogs, terrorists, criminals, the civilians wouldn't need guns to protect themselves. So that's understandable. So her dream of living in a gun-free world, that's a fantasy world that's never going to happen. I hate to say it. I hate to break this 9-year-old's heart, but hey, this is a fantasy world that she's living in. She's 9 years old. She doesn't understand that. I understand. But children are in that mentality of Disneyland and Wizard of Oz and cartoons and the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus. They don't want... And the Democrat Nazi Party, they're so evil that they're going to use somebody like that to get up on stage and explain to adults my age about how we should ban guns. Somebody with the mentality of a 9-year-old. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not trying to bash the girl, really not. But we got to think this thing through here, Don't be libtarded. You know, like the guy at the Phoenix Convention Center when I was standing in line. He told me to have an open mind. If I didn't have an open mind, I wouldn't get pissed off at Donald Trump yesterday. But there's some Trumpers out there. I'm going to support Donald Trump no matter what. I said the same thing when I supported Bill Clinton in 4th grade. I'm going to support Bill Clinton no matter what. That's what I said when I was 10 years old. Back when he was running for president. I think I was 9. Whatever. Then I found out Bill Clinton was a sexual predator pedophile. I didn't really care about him getting a blowjob. That's not the nation's business. You know, cheating on his wife, that's a personal issue. If Donald Trump is cheating on his wife with a porn star, that's really none of my fucking business. If he's a bad husband, hey, that's people's court, and that ain't the Supreme Court. I care about him running a nation. I care about him running a nation. Just like Barack Obama. I voted for Barack Obama in 2008. I supported him for maybe 3 years. I care about him running a nation the right way. I don't care if he's married to a transvestite. I don't care that his kids are not his kids. They're just his adopted kids because they look great, you know, because it's a conspiracy. If he wants to marry a man that wants to be a woman, you know, that's his business. If Barack Obama's gay and wants to marry a tranny, that's his business. If Donald Trump is cheating on his wife with a porn star, it's none of my damn business. If Bill Clinton got a blowjob behind his wife's back, I mean, I gotta be honest, if I was married to somebody like Hillary Clinton, I'd cheat on my wife too. But that's not the way it is. I'm just saying, Hillary Clinton, oh my God. Yeah, I would definitely cheat on her. But anyway, it's not the nation's business. It's not. That's personal business. No, I don't think Donald Trump he should release his tax forms. Who cares? I care about him running the country. So I got pissed off at him yesterday. Because he signed a bill that's going to fund things that he said he was going to get rid of is the reason I voted for him in the first place, including Obamacare. But that's my rant for today. March for your lives. Oh, man. So I pray for these kids, and I pray for Joseph Martelli, and I pray for John Prager, and I pray for all these other idiots, all these other idiots. I even pray for Stunt Cock. Yeah. I know about him. Stunt Cock is a dangerous person. He's an actual person. He's with the real name. He's making his rounds around the internet. Stunt Cock. That's his name. Don't ask. I don't know where. I mean, if he gets pulled over by the police, driver's license police, and he hands it over to the police, Stunt Cock. Don't ask, man. I don't want that kind of look. I don't want the police giving me that kind of look. I mean, you got to go. I mean, when you hand your ID to somebody at the Walgreens because you want alcohol, because they got to prove you're over at the age of 21, he looks your ID. It looks at your ID. Is that your real name, Stunt Cock? Anyway, don't ask. So anyway, I pray for all the rest of these idiots out there. I really do. I hope they find the grace of Lord Jesus, and I hope that they have an open mind. I pray for these people. I really do. I really do. And I'm not going to pray for anybody's death like Joseph Martelli did. He prayed for my death. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, I pray for these people. All right, I got the green light. I'm unloaded. I'm time to get out of here. All right, time to get out of here. All right. I just got the green light. I'm sitting at the loading dock waiting to get unloaded. Just got the green light. Time to get out of here. I got life to live. All right, I pray for you idiots. I pray for everybody.